Welcome to The Point of Order, a podcast that facilitates and encourages citizen involvement in Parkersburg, West Virginia's local government.
Visit us online at thepoo.net. That's thepoo, P-O-O.net. Or email us at thepointoforder@gmail.com and visit us on Facebook.
We are your show hosts. I am Kim Coram.
And I'm John Wiseman.
The world suffers a lot, not because of the violence of bad people, but because of the silence of good people. Napoleon Bonaparte. Good people, speak up. Welcome to the Point of Order podcast, candidate interview series. We are going to be interviewing candidates running for the City of Parkersburg mayor and city council positions. We start our interview series with Sherry Dugan, Democrat candidate for Parkersburg mayor. We have Sherry Dugan, who is the Democrat mayor candidate for the City of Parkersburg. Thanks for joining us, Sherry.
Thank you for having me.
I always ask people this first. Why did you decide to throw your hat in the ring and run for mayor?
Well, it's something I had considered for a long time. I come from a very political background. My father ran twice. I've been on council, and I just think perhaps a fresh idea might help the city of Parkersburg to grow.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate your service and stepping up. Point of Order podcast is all about getting the citizens' voices out and helping them learn more about their candidates so they can make informed votes. So I want to thank you for your attendance at the Town Hall Gathering Thursday. We felt like that was a very successful event. I know I learned a lot about candidates at that event. And we appreciate your support of that event and attendance so the citizens could get to know you better.
Well, I thought it was an excellent venue. It was relaxed, and you got to meet with people, and sometimes that's better than a formal setting.
Yes, we really had a great time. One of my favorite comments at the wrap-up was that somebody said, everybody was so nice and this was fun. And that's the message we're trying to get out, is being involved in your government is fun. So that was...
Absolutely.
So we went through the forum Thursday night, and citizens came up and asked questions, and they asked 16 questions in total. I guess really 15 if you don't count the ice cream question. But we only allowed you to say yes or no. You had placards, and you raised those up, and you could say yes or no as far as whether you would support these initiatives the citizens asked about. And we did it that way because there were 20-some candidates, and it's hard to get that many people answer.
We'd have been there till the next day.
Yeah, definitely. So you didn't have the chance to expound on your answers. So I was going to take a few of the questions the citizens did ask and ask you to explain, tell us what your vote was. You were able to say yes, no, or abstain. Explain what your vote was and why. So we'll get started. The first question was, should chocolate be the official ice cream of Parkersburg? So how did you vote on that?
I said yes, because that's my favorite flavor.
Right on. Well, that's great. My favorite flavor, too. I can't imagine why anybody voted against that.
I know, but apparently not. Chocolate must not be everybody's favorite flavor.
I know. One of the questions had to do with capital investment, and the gentleman that asked the question referenced a recent discussion about funding a baseball stadium or sewer connections to baseball stadium. I threw that in there. I don't think he said that. Sewage connections or any sort of support from the citizens' dollars to support a baseball stadium or any capital investment. And his question was, for capital investments over certain dollars amounts, do you believe it should be sent to the citizens for vote? And what was your answer on that?
I believe I said, I've got to remember what I said.
Well, let's not worry about what your answer was that night.
What is my answer now?
Yes.
I think if it's a large enough amount of money that, yes, it should be sent to the citizens. Right now, what capital improvements, is it 5 or more?
To be on the capital plan, $5,000.
Yeah, I think council and the mayor can handle $5,000, but if we're going to be talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, I believe it should go to the citizens.
Excellent. Another question had to do with parking. Now, parking has been a hot topic recently. We've actually done some radio shows on it. And one gentleman asked, would you do away with metered parking in Parkersburg to generate more business?
No. I don't see how that really is going to help businesses in the long run, and it is an income to the city, which helps the city pay for certain things that are accomplished. Now, if it was parking lots, that would be, there has to be parking somewhere, even if we have businesses.
Right.
So
right.
I really don't see the problem, because the meter parking's only in downtown, and unless downtown drastically changed, at this point in time, I don't think it's necessary.
Okay. One gentleman asked about making the city more green, specifically in regards to improving the efficiency of its buildings and for new car purchases to be more energy efficient, and in regards to that, meaning electric cars when possible or hybrid cars. What are your thoughts about making the city more energy efficient and green?
I think making more energy efficient and green is a wonderful idea, and I don't know how you could, enforce people to get hybrid cars or electric cars. But as far as the buildings and everything, and I know that in the 5-year plan from the Municipal Planning Commission, from the Development Department, that they are trying to go more green, and I think that's a wonderful idea.
Right. He was talking more about our own fleet, the city's fleet, as in regards to
honestly, I would have to say I'd have to look into it, because I don't know how. The police cruisers have to be up to par, and I don't know enough about hybrid cars or electric cars to know if that would be viable. I'm being honest.
Correct.
I don't really know enough about that to know.
Okay. One citizen asked if the city would be willing to fund a citizens academy that would teach citizens how their government works, the rules, how they could become educated on knowing more about how our government, the city government, works, and that citizens could attend this academy that would be funded by the taxpayers' dollars, and it would make more informed candidates and also more informed citizens. Would you be favorable to funding a citizens academy and promoting more knowledge and involvement in our city's government?
I'm definitely in favor of promoting more knowledge and involvement of the citizens. As far as the city funding it, depending on, obviously, the budget, whether it be available, but I don't think they should fund it 100%. We have the Chamber of Commerce, we have the Junior Chamber with the JCs, we have so many benevolent organizations that, that might be something they could help raise money to fund. But I think it's a great idea, because more people know, and the more educated they are, the better choices they're going to make.
Correct. Actually, we have started a training academy ourselves with the Point of Order podcast. We're having our first class on February 20th about learn your charter by learning, creating a city in West Virginia. So we're having tremendous response to that. So I think citizens are definitely interested in it.
If you belong to the Chamber of Commerce, they have different committees, and they do things like they have the Leadership Academy that they have. So I don't see where we could not pull from the resources available to fund it.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, some of the more controversial questions were revolving around marijuana. One gentleman asked if you would be willing to decriminalize recreational use of marijuana, and what that would mean, as they've done in Pittsburgh, is it's no longer a criminal penalty. It's a civil penalty. You could be cited for it and you could be fined, but there would be no criminal charges. Would you support the decriminalization of marijuana?
No. I know the next question is going to go into the medical marijuana. And I just think if we have enough problems with drugs in this area, that if we do decriminalize it, I'm not saying I'm an advocate that, yes, if you smoke pot, you're going to go to something stronger, and there's a lot of schools of thought on that, but I think we need to really crack down. And if we decriminalize it, then, someone's going to figure out a way to get away with more. which leads into the segue into medical marijuana. And I think there could be enough ways to control it. And I think medical marijuana does serve a purpose.
That was going to be my next question. You were correct.
I know. I jumped to it.
Right. So would you support the legalization of medical marijuana?
As long as there were enough restrictions that we could control what was going on. I mean, you're not going to control all of it, I know. Let's face it, when somebody decides they want to do something, they're going to figure out a way around it.
Correct.
But that said, I think it can be done in a way that, yes, medical marijuana does serve a very valid purpose.
Okay, the next question had to do with the user fee, and it said, if income continues to rise above what was anticipated in the sales tax that we're receiving, would you be in favor of the reduction or elimination of the user fee?
Absolutely. With obviously with the codicil that if the 1% sales tax does continue to offset, yes. Being in business, I know that the next check that they get, they're going to be a little bit disappointed because January, February, and March are typically the 3 worst months. So,
wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we have the funds to do what the citizens want, as far as the infrastructure with the streets and the sewage and the water and all the other things that we do, yeah, absolutely, reduce it or eliminate it.
Fantastic. Thank you. Mm-hmm. The other question had to do with sexual orientation, and the citizens said that Parkersburg does not have a policy to support. Our policy currently does not protect sexual orientation and gender identity issues in regards to employment and public accommodations in the city of Parkersburg. And she asked, would you be willing to support a resolution to protect employment and public accommodation to sexual orientation and gender identity issues?
Yes. I mean, that's just a straightforward yes or no. Yes, I have. I don't think it matters what your sexual orientation is if you can do the job. I think it should be based on your abilities as opposed to anything else. We went through that with the women and the men thing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by the number of people in the audience that supported passing a policy like that in Parkersburg. Okay, another question had to do with community composting, making it part of a municipal process where, in addition to recycling, that we would accommodate composting for citizens in our community. What are your feelings about? I mean, you have a restaurant, so you obviously have compostable waste. What are your thoughts and feelings about that?
I think it would be a wonderful idea. That pushes us back to the green. Might actually end up ultimately becoming some sort of a money maker. You could sell the compost.
Absolutely.
I mean, that would be way, way down the line, I'm sure. But, yes, absolutely. I think the greener we can go, the better.
Fantastic. Another question had to do with reevaluating laws for dilapidated buildings. And you and I both know, because you've been on council before, it's a very complex subject. Mm-hmm. And it does not move as fast as anybody would like it to because of all the complexities of it. And during the home rule, we have asked for consideration for some laws regarding dilapidated buildings. But the citizen asked, would you be willing to reevaluate the laws for dilapidated buildings?
Oh, definitely. I've got one next to me at where I live. It's been empty for 20-some years. And I'd love to extend my property. There's a personal aspect.
Right.
But and some of these laws, as you well know, come from the state down. So, but yes, it's a convoluted process, and it takes forever. And I think it could be sped up. Yes.
Great, thank you. Another lady came up, and there was a staggering statistic that she shared. She said over 1,000 youth. The schools have reported over 1,000 homeless youth in our schools since 2009. And she asked if the city would be willing to fund housing initiatives for these homeless youth. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, once again, you're back to the budget. Provided funds are available, yes, I have no problem with that. And I'm a firm believer, like I said earlier, we have fraternal and organizations in this city that do raise funds for things like that. And if we could get them all working together, even the ball field, any of these things, if the citizens are contributing their own dollars to it, just like they did with the Erickson Center and South, I think it gets them involved, and then they have some ownership to what's going on. And it also doesn't fall all the way back on the city, and then if it goes belly up, then, the city's in trouble. That's being financially responsible to the citizens.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much, as the moderator said during the session, the government can't do everything. And one of the things that the Point of Order podcast is trying to do is create a very strong bond between citizens and government and, get that energy together so that we can move forward together and the citizens do have more participation. Because I think Thursday night showed just the amazing energy the citizens have for that, and the ideas were great that were coming out of that session. And I really think that was a showcase event in regards to the citizens' input and what that can do.
I agree. And like I said, the more they're involved, the more ownership they have in it, and they're going to be more inclined to understand the process. I mean, it would be nice if the city could do all these things.
Yeah.
But we don't have unlimited funds. I've always said it's not like owning your own business. If my product goes up, I can raise my prices. Well, the city just can't. Okay, well, this went up, so we're just going to start raising prices. There's nothing to raise.
Right.
They have to either institute fees or taxes or something, and and that's a timely process too.
As it should.
So yeah, I mean, we have to work together.
Absolutely.
Can't do it all by yourself.
Back on the youth. There was a youth that actually stepped up, and then another gentleman stepped up behind him, and pretty much echoed the same question. He asked if you'd be willing to reestablish the mayor's advisory panel, youth advisory panel, working with the city and youth. And also another gentleman followed up and said, and also including colleges and college students and internships with the city. So basically, would you as a mayor be willing to reinstitute the youth advisory panel and reach out to our youth to get them more involved so they stay in the area?
Oh, yes, I'm a firm believer. If you get somebody at that age involved in politics or actually in anything, then they're going to be they're going to be involved the rest of their lives. I mean, I'm a case in point. My father ran for mayor when I was in high school, and I was out on the campaign trail, and that's what got me interested in it. So yes, the more they can be involved, then they're going to be better citizens, and they'll understand the process and be able to speak intelligently about it, instead of just spouting off, as a lot of young people tend to do.
Right. My daughters, as you can imagine, are also very politically aware, and we're so at a very young age, and it does start at home. Really, it helps a lot. And if they have the opportunity to serve on advisory panels at the city level and get more involved, I agree with you. It makes a better citizen and a citizen who tends to be engaged for a lifelong.
Right.
Okay, and then there was another.
I was going to say, even when I was in high school, and it's long gone, but they used to have that junior achievement. And that was a way to get people involved in different areas.
Yes. Seems we've lost a lot of those.
I think the youth need to be involved.
I agree. And then the last student question, that was another institution, citizens from OVU was stating how they get college students in, and a lot of them don't have cars. And she asked if we would be willing to support free bus passes for college students.
I'm not so sure I'd want to go for free, but they've already students already have a reduced fee, and the buses aren't that expensive, are they? At least they didn't used to be.
Yeah, I don't. I don't think they're that expensive, but I also have learned, because my district has the most poverty, is my measure is not a measure of some people or a lot of people in my neighborhood.
Right.
So.
Oh, well, maybe we could work out something where they volunteered and did something and, a trade-off. There's an idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea. All right, and the last question that came up that I haven't asked you is a citizen, which was me, I should say that, brought up the fact that in Charleston, a committee chair had banned the citizens from documenting a public meeting, did not allow them to take pictures, said they would be removed. And my question is, would you ever ban citizens from documenting public city meetings?
No. That's just a straightforward no.
Fantastic. Yeah,
it became detrimental to somebody. It could cause a problem, but in today's cyber world, anything can happen. But
well, describe detrimental.
Well, it's not so much the documenting of what's happening as maybe the comments that occur after the fact. I personally had a problem a couple years ago with Facebook, and I was accused of extorting money from my class reunion, which I had organized since the first one. And it was just, people being nasty. It all resolved itself, and I'm back on as treasurer and all that stuff. But you see what I'm saying? It's the comments that go past the documentation that kind of concern me.
Right.
And you can't really control those.
Correct. Okay. Well, that is every question that was asked during the citizens' questioning, believe it or not. And
goody.
How would you like to end this interview? What would you like the citizens to hear when they listen to this?
That I'm looking forward to possibly serving the city of Parkersburg as their mayor, and will always have an open door policy if there's questions. Cell phone, home phone, whatever. Preferably not the business. That might not be a good idea. But yes, and if anybody has any suggestions or comments, I'm more than willing to sit down and talk to them.
Do you want to give them a way to get in touch with you? Share your
My
phone number?
cell phone number is 304-482-4866.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing that and making yourself available to the citizens. I think that is of the utmost importance when you have a candidate that is willing to engage the citizens and share their information. I think that says a lot right from the start.
And we do have a Facebook page that if anybody wants to go on it.
So you're on Facebook, and people can contact you on your cell phone. Do you have an email address that you'd be willing to share?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Sherry. I really appreciate your time. And we'll get it out there. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sherry contacted me with her email, and I wanted to share that with everyone. Feel free to contact her at Sherry Dugan, SherryDugan 1974 @gmail.com. I did want to note there was one question we did admit, and that had to do with a needle exchange. Sherry did answer it and said she was not in favor of it, but unfortunately the quality of the audio was such that I had to cut it from the tape. I want to thank Sherry for the interview. We do plan on offering the same opportunities to every mayoral candidate and as many council candidates as are willing to speak with us. Thank you, Sherry, for making yourself available, and thank you for throwing your hat in the ring.